This is TWiT. To me, this is one of the most fascinating things about the pandemic, is how it accelerated some changes like streaming video, DoorDash, and then it's changing the workplace. I suspect that. Do you cover this at all in IT Pro? Do you?
Yes, we've been covering this since California's stay-at-home order in March 2020.
I think we have employees who don't want to come back.
Well, there's been a phenomenal growth in cloud-based services precisely for this reason.
Right.
Since you do have IT pros who, instead of being able to just go to somebody's desk and ask them to turn the machine on and off, they're put in the challenging position of having to do a lot of remote troubleshooting, and business is still going on as usual. So it's made sense to accelerate a migration to all sorts of services in the cloud, from platform as a service to desktop as a service to line of business applications and things like that. Just because it's allowed for some semblance of business continuity, it's helped out overworked IT support people, and it's in some cases even helped keep costs down or onboard new people more gracefully. So
what's going on in the UK, Nate? Are companies going back to work? Are people reopening and returning to normal?
Yeah, I mean, so I tend to go into our office a couple of days a week at the moment at Bloomberg. I mean, we've got a big office in London. There's like sort of 3,000 or 4,000 of us.
Wow.
At the Bloomberg office in London. Yeah, it's the biggest outside of New York, and so we have on-site testing and so on. And I was in there the other day, Thursday, Friday this week just gone by. And when you walk around outside, it's kind of like there's no pandemic happening. Everything's open, streets are full, everything's just as it feels like it used to be pre-pandemic. Mm-hmm. However, numbers are going up, and companies seem to be sitting on the fence. Like a lot of companies hadn't ordered their employees back, but we were hearing rumors that a lot were strongly encouraging it. And I think at the moment it's more like, let's just see how this goes. We're not being told to come back. We know that the hope was that, but from September, people would maybe be in sort of 3 days a week. But there's been no update on that. And I don't think the pressure's going to be there to be back in the office anytime soon.
It's interesting that the Journal thinks that it's going to be hard to get people to come back. We have had one employee has decided not to come back, of ours, doesn't want to work. It's like, well, because we reopened the office, then the mask mandate came back, so now people are wearing masks. But one of our employees say I don't want to work in the office. I liked working at home. And maybe we're making a mistake, but I think we want people to come back into the office. We kind of like having everybody. We used to, we would have Wednesday lunch. Everybody comes and we have lunch. We did it twice, and now we can't do it anymore.
So Leo, there was a really great piece in the Atlantic this past week talking about, they called it the remote work / fertility connection. Well, it's a little
That's scary. Wait a minute.
No, it's a little bit clickbaity, but the premise of the piece was that people who work remotely often have a lot more flexibility and control over their time than people who go into an office do. And when you have more control over your time, you will make different family planning choices than you would if you have the kind of job where either your hours are unpredictable or your commute is grueling or what have you. And I would not be surprised if a lot of the resistance that some workers are having to going back into the office to do the same work they can do at home while they can also get laundry going and meal prep per week and things like that, a lot of it is them saying, what is this going to add to my quality of life if I have to stay away from this house and I have a commute and things like that? And I would be interested to see how many employers start trying to draw a line or trying to make the pitch that in order to keep talent, they'd have to say, okay, you're not going to take a significant quality of life hit if you come back because you'll still have these great quality of life things happening in the office. I mean, I'm not saying all employers will do that, far from it, but I think that this is something employers have to reckon with, is you have a lot of people who are like, sure, homeschooling my kids was a nightmare, but I kind of like being able to work late at night once they go to bed, or I like being able to, eat a good lunch every day instead of some terrible deli sandwich.
Is the notion of all coming to work in an office really kind of a industrial age mistake, a dystopia kind of, where everybody's sitting in rows upon rows of desks, kind of like out of a sci-fi movie, at their adding machines?
I don't know. I've worked at home remotely. I've worked at home remotely for years, but I have to be honest, I love going to tech shows precisely because I'm in a newsroom with a lot of other people from other publications. I love that buzzy energy and I love the productivity.
We kind of want it both ways, don't we?
Yeah. I think workers maybe just want a little bit more control over how they do their work and how they deliver it. And it would not hurt workers.
Man, I swear, I tell you.
It's almost like they think training expertise and time for wages gives them a say.
Oh, how dare they? Nate, what were you going to say? I'm sorry I cut you off.
I don't know. I don't think it was as interesting as what Lisa was saying. So I've already forgotten it. So
okay.
Who knows? Oh no, I remember what it was. Yeah. I was going to say, everyone's circumstance is different. We don't have kids. I'm the loud one in this house. My wife's the one who has to deal with me.
You're the baby. Yeah.
Children. Yeah. Well, I'm older than her.
Yeah.
But I'm the loud one. But what I was going to say is that most of my work and hobbies during the pandemic has been in this studio, this office. It's basically work is this way and then fun is that way. And I don't know if you can tell. I mean, you can't really tell because it's midnight nearly here, but this window is blocked up. So when my door is shut and I'm in here, there's basically no discernible difference between day and night. There's no natural light. And I was working in here a lot. And then I was turning around and having a lot of fun behind me. And it really took its toll. Like mental health wise, I didn't pay enough attention to the lack of diversity in just how I was spending my day, even though I was keeping track of hours and, switching off at the right times. Just the very fact of not moving around and interacting with different environments, it took its toll. And so going back to the office has made a massive difference for me, just in terms of breaking up the day, breaking up the week, partly reminding me that I'm still a professional journalist and I'm not just a guy at home who pretends to, write about business and finance all day, but is actually just playing at it. Like that has been it's been a noticeable benefit for me. Everybody is different. I could never, I would never say this is going to be the same for people who have kids or who are dealing with various other lifestyle situations. But for me, the main benefit has been from a mental health standpoint. And I don't know how much that's been talked about in terms of a reason to go back to an office. But for me, it's been a big reason to keep going back.
The chat room says you have a mullet office. It's business in front and party in the back.
Here. Oh, yeah. This is,
but not your hair, your office. For people who aren't watching the video, Nate has quite an elaborate drum kit behind him. And I think there's a good argument that if you do have to work, you should have something you can bang on every once in a while just to get the frustrations out.